So we're going to jump right into it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Buenos días, mi gente. How are you feeling? I'm so excited for being here. I'm like, yes.
We're excited for you. So the name, Bembona. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Bueno, Bembona for me was like, I was trying to come up with the name. I was sitting with like my family, and I was always called like flaca when I was younger because I was super thin. So they're like flaquita or like flaca, and I'm like, that might be too like used already. Right. So we were thinking, and I'm like, I have big lips. I mean, to some people they probably aren't even that big, but like it meant a lot because of me being a black woman.
Right.
And then like Latina, people would call like your bottom lip a bembe.
Right.
And most of the time, kind of in negative connotation. So for me, Bembona was like for me embracing like my African features and also that I have a big ass mouth. Literally, like I like to say what I want to say. So it fit perfectly, and it kind of just naturally went that way because Bembona at first meant like, okay, I have big lips, but as I was going through the career till this day, I'm like, it means more than that. I'm getting to speak what I want to say, and like, yeah, that's how Bembona originated.
I love that. I love that. Especially because a lot of the, taking a look at our lips, yes, let's freeze for a moment. A lot of people are trying to get that very thing that we already have. Speaking of which, you're Puerto Rican and Panamanian.
Yes, ya
from
tú
Brooklyn.
sabes. Super boricua, super panameña.
It's a pretty delicious recipe. Talk to us a little bit about the musical atmosphere at your house growing up and what kind of influences.
I mean, I grew up in New York, so I grew up in Brooklyn all my life. My dad was an immigrant. He came in the 70s, and he was from Panama. So he came from Panama City looking like, I think he was the first of his siblings to come to the U.S. His mother had got here just before him. So I grew up with like this sense of like nostalgic 70s New York, which is like Fania Records, which is Motown, all of that good stuff, but then also adding to it Salsa Boricua. And Gran Combo was like probably one of the most played bands in our house. And all these great Boricua artists, like Ima Rivera, La Lupe from Cuba, like Celia Cruz, but then we had also like the English like R&B and even some country and all these things mixed in that my dad liked, like the little rock. So it was like a mix of everything. I just think like from being in New York, you know, you're so open to so many different like musical genres. So growing up, it was kind of started there for me. And then once I got into like middle school and high school, I was like a true pop girl.
Right.
My first CD was Britney Spears. So that says a lot. And I was into these punk rock bands like freaking Green Day and Simple Plan and Paramore like for a little bit in high school. So it was like an evolution.
I love that.
To be honest.
I love that. And so with all of this music, all of the bands that you just listed, acts, artists, was DJing your dream? And how did you come to that conclusion?
I mean, for me, I never thought I was going to be like a DJ per se. I knew I always loved the arts. Like that was my like dream. I knew I was meant to be something more, and not saying like being alone is nothing, but like I felt this essence that there was a purpose that was like bigger than me. And I just found it through DJing, which wasn't even like, it wasn't meant to be that way. But in short, I kind of went through all these avenues in the arts that I've been kind of taught since elementary school, like performing arts. So whether it was singing, drama, dancing, everything, I was exposed to all of these artistic avenues. I was like drawing at one point, taking photos in the other, doing films. So it was like, I don't know, I loved everything. So my parents were always annoyed. They're like, you can't pick one thing? So DJing kind of fell in my lap. It was accessible. It was just something that I thought would be a hobby at first because I really loved music. I've been a band geek for like 8 years. So like all this previous knowledge and experience, I think it just kind of like directed me in this kind of avenue without even knowing, to be honest.
I love that. Growing up, back to influences, right? Growing up, I can remember DJ Spinderella. and then of course Premier, et cetera, but there weren't any African-American women, and certainly not Afro-Latina, that we could look to. So who kind of gave you that first start or first step into the door of DJing? And what were some of the surprises or things that came?
The thing with me is that when I started DJing, I didn't like kind of look up to anyone at this point. Like, I didn't really think of myself as like a hip-hop DJ or any genre. So I knew the history, I knew the roots. My mom was born from the South Bronx during hip-hop days, so I knew the importance of DJing, but I didn't have that like person to be like, this is who I wanted to be like, or like, what is DJing? So for me, like, it just kind of happened randomly through Twitter, actually. I reached out to Rio Bamba, shouts out to Rio Bamba, and I was like, I love your mix. And like, the way she kind of infused like social commentary and justice with the mixes, I was like, at that point, trying to find, what do I want to say? Like, what is my sound? What is my voice? It inspired me a lot. So I hit her up through Twitter, and we linked up, and we were like in neighboring hoods. We were like living right near each other. And yes, I told her my story, and it kind of went through there. So it was crazy. It was a crazy journey.
So with that being said, right, we all know when we're trying to rise, you're a person of color, you're a woman, right? There are no easy steps at all. What kinds of things that you do to kind of help surface the hardships and get through the hardships when you were trying to get through some of these doors to get the opportunities to even get that first set or first sound out?
Oosh, I mean, it's been a journey. I mean, now I've been probably doing it for like 7 years and 4 years in public. I always make that distinction because I kind of had to harbor my skills and then finally have the courage to just do it, like in public. So with all that being said, it's just like, oosh, it's been a journey where I didn't even know like the impact or how crucial things would have been, because growing up I was never, like, I never grew up thinking that I couldn't do things or that my color would be something that was an obstacle, because that was just the household that I grew up in. So to kind of, you know, have that mask or that veil kind of ripped out of you, and then becoming woke, and for lack of better words, becoming woke is kind of what helped me, what saved me to kind of like realize the importance and the reality of all types of industries and the world, you know what I mean? So for me, dealing with that alone, I keep on pushing. I'm like, you're going to see me here, you're going to see me over there, and you're going to keep seeing this face. I think visibility is important, you know, representation. So for me, that was the first step. And still to this day, as I can like relay the message, it's still about me being present in white spaces, in white Latinx spaces, in brown Latinx spaces, to be like, La Negra está aquí. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. That's what I meant.
That should be a bumper sticker. Let's work on that. Let's work on that soon. So in the tech industry, we are also still struggling and find it challenging to continue to kind of fill some of the spaces that are lacking, you know, people of color, especially women. And going back to kind of like paying it forward, right? Talk to us a little bit about the activism and how you're fusing your music with trying to merge some of these communities together, specifically women, women of color, women, female identifying, non-binary people. Talk to us a little bit about how you're using music to kind of connect people.
The thing is, I feel like everything comes naturally when you have like an open heart and like the intention is there and it's not forced. That's like the most important thing for me, because this wasn't planned. Right. Like, I didn't choose this life, it chose me. I feel like I'm just a vessel. Like, I'm a really spiritual person, and I feel that when I'm like on stage or when I'm talking, it's like I know that I'm carrying others with me spiritually, or groups that are like want to feel like they can be identified, or they can like say like we can do this as well. So it kind of just, it wasn't something that I was like planning on doing. I think for me, my audience chose me. And I have that responsibility and kind of that like feeling that I have to do this for all of us in a sense. So for me, like the most important thing in my career right now is that I want to really like bridge the gap between the Black communities in particular.
Yes.
Because, you know, Black is not a monolith.
Not at all.
At all. And I think people are still, they still don't understand that. They can't really understand why you can be Black and you can be Latina, why you can be Black and you can be Caribbean or African American, all these nuances, right? So I think it's like the communities still kind of don't have that understanding of each other, or there's not that, and because we were never taught. We don't know, most of us don't know our true histories. And I think for me, it's really important and really crucial that we can come together and unite in a sense of learning from each other so we can grow as a unit and not as separate communities, if that makes sense. And I know there's a struggle there because even in the nightlife scene, there's like all these beautiful spaces, and I've gotten the privilege to like be able to spin at them and be present in them. But then I'm like, but why isn't like, why aren't they not like, I don't understand. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where I come in. I kind of want to be that person.
What I love about that response is that you're trying to be, not only, in other words, you're being genuine, but you're also trying to keep track of the fact that you want to be as open as possible. I'm wondering, when it comes to venues and choosing venues, are you looking for the audience to be what you're used to? Are you looking to see, is this an audience that I've seen before? And if it's not an audience you've seen before, does that force you to say, you know what, I want to give this a shot?
Oof, that's like... I mean, my manager, Stephanie would know this, that sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know, like, is there going to be, like, too many white people there? Like,
right,
don't want to do that. She's like, come on, you got this, do it. Like, they got to see you. And I'm like, okay. But I think my goal is to have, like, I could look out and it's, like, all Black people. Like, that's my ideal goal, just because you don't really see that. Right. Like, there are spaces and there are parties that are doing it, but I think in the Latinx scope of things, we're really behind in that term. So when I go to a venue, I mean, typically my audience is like the woke crowd, activists, the queer folks, the Black and brown folks, and white Latinx is all mixed up. But when I mainly do events, is really brown. And I use the word brown because that's what's been used in the Latinx community, as people from like either South America, Central, Mexican, etc. So for me, when I look out and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of still representing these people. I am Latina, I am Afro-Latina, but then I'm like, where are my people? Why am I always the only one in the room that's like the darkest?
Yes.
I'm confused.
Yes, we are confused sometimes in tech as well.
Yeah.
Because I can say that freely, I think. I think everyone in the room knows that. None of us are unfamiliar with sometimes being the only person in the room. Exactly. And having to move a certain way so that people understand that I'm here, I'm a professional. And
as a woman too, I mean, I felt I was privileged enough to come in and to be embraced by these scenes, these underground, like global-based, tropical-based scenes that weren't about this hierarchy of man and woman, at least my experience as of now. There's still the subtleties and the things that I go through on an individual like basis with men, but as a whole, I've seen like all these women that have like taken each other by the arm and like pushed each other, and in the scene, we're like killing this shit.
I love that.
And I'm like so proud. So I think like I was lucky enough to be able to not have to deal with that too much. It's still relevant. Yeah. It's still there. But I think we're really trying to like push and show our faces and be like, we are here. We're not going to stay. We can't set our shit up. We can set our equipment. We don't need your help. Like there has been instances where they'll be like, you're the DJ? Don't understand. And I'm like, no, I'm not just like a little woman that's like, oh my God, I'm coming here. I can't set up my equipment. Like, we know what we're doing. And I think we need that space.
Absolutely. Again, we all understand all of those points. I promise you there have been many doors we've all kicked in at some point in our career. So DJing is a male-dominated field. Like, we don't have to, testify to any of that. But I would like you to talk to us a little bit about the structure of the music industry and how it forces women, specifically women of color, right, to take it a step further and push boundaries to be creative, but also to be your own boss.
Oosh, that's like a loaded question because I'm like thinking of the industry in different types of ways, right? So it's like music industry, American music industry, whatever that even means to you. There's Latinx music industry. There's then my DJ community or communities, and then there's like the DJ community that's the broader side where you see like the white men in the festivals and all that stuff. But for me, I think speaking more in the Latinx realm, because I think that's what I could kind of like observe and know about, is that first of all, women have to always fit in this type of look or this type of like...
That's true.
Exactly. So even as a DJ, witnessing how the like Latinx music industry, we are having, like we have more women in mainstream, but they all still don't really relate to how other Latinas feel like they're not being represented well, if that makes sense. So on top of that, of not having enough women, there's also the underlying issue where it's like there's not any Black women in the mainstream. And that for me is like all these different layers that still has to be like worked out. Because if you look into like, let's say hip hop, R&B community, you could list like over a bunch of Black women in the industry. And that doesn't even take away from everything that's still wrong and everything that they've been through. But then you look to the Latinx music industry, eesh, and not even Black men either, not being represented, or there's like Afro-Latinx people that don't want to claim their Blackness publicly or don't want to push other artists that are like them. I can go on and on with this because there's a lot of like nuances and a lot of layers to this that I think that there's a lot of work to do, too much work.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of all of the work, right? You and I were talking just a little bit before, but I wanted to touch a little bit on colorism, right? It's still a thing. It's still a major attribute in Latin and African American communities, whether domestically here in the U.S. or just around the world. Let's talk a little bit about how you've seen that affect either yourself or other artists, and then would you say that self-love might be the most powerful antidote of all in order to kind of, again, shatter some of those things, some of those doors that are existing?
I mean, it takes a lot of self-love to be out here, to be honest, to survive and stand tall and still do what you want to do and still live a life that you can, like, say that you love. So it takes a lot. For me, I'm still there. You know, self-love for me is not like, there's not one direction that you're going to. It's like a never-ending journey all throughout your life. And then carrying all these different, you know, me being Black, me being a woman, it's like, whoosh, it's difficult. It's difficult to say. I just feel like, I don't know. I think that... Oosh, if you could repeat the question again. Yeah, so because I'm like, it's a lot. It's loaded.
It is a loaded question. It's a question that I myself have to ask on a daily basis. How am I going to walk into a professional setting today, and how are they going to, you know, accept me, understand how I'm talking? I imagine, you know, for yourself when you walk into the room, because you said this earlier, that people are either surprised, you know. And I imagine they're probably more surprised because you are of a darker skin tone. You know, if you're Afro-Latina, again, it's not a one singular kind of experience. Yeah. It's a varied kind of experience, and you can be several things. You know, I always tell people, check all the boxes. All the boxes. If there are several boxes for you to check, check them all. Yes. And be able to speak to them all. So how have you seen colorism affect folks in the industry, artists, up-and-coming artists, or how's it affected you, or has it touched you at this time?
Yeah, I almost like blanked out because it's so much. It's so loaded, y'all. And like sometimes it's like, I feel like it's not my responsibility to educate, which is also a layer to this, because then you're fighting through colorism and you're fighting through these other things, but then you also have to like educate folks that like this isn't right. And like with colorism, if you look in the industry, it's kind of the lighter person is going to be picked. I mean, that's just facts. I don't care what anyone has to say. I've seen it time and time again. Even in my own personal life, I know that I'm hella talented. I know that I'm a boss-ass bitch, if I can say that. But I also know what we gravitate to as a whole. And it's also because we are brainwashed folks that have a lot of conditioning from our colonizers all the way back then, that for some reason we're gonna gravitate to the whiter person. We're like, yes, they're legitimate. And I've seen this in the DJ communities. I've seen this, and I'm talking about like going from specific to all the way to the general industry. Right. It's like the lighter you are in any industry, you're gonna break the doors. I've noticed that 100%. No matter if you're like either in the disabled community, LGBTQ, the whiter person is gonna be the one to break the doors first. And I think we're kind of sick of that. We're tired of that. So to add self-care to that, ooh. I mean, you gotta have that Palo Santo out. You gotta like be able to like, oosh, it's a lot. And to not, like, honestly, also not to become obsessed with these things is hard for me, because I can get pretty jaded and can get really emotional about things. And then that clouds the art, right? It clouds why you're meant to be here, and you have to keep on going and just create and perform and do what you love. So right. It adds, it's just too much.
What do you do to kind of keep yourself balanced? Because as you said, there's a lot of things, right, to consider when you're moving, when your dreams are so close. They seem close, or they, in your mind, you may seem like they're far, but they're not, right? Yeah. And it's just because hardship pops out of nowhere. You know, sometimes doors are just so locked. There's like 6 locks on one door, you know? And I think for me too, that's something that I have to be completely aware of. Yeah. So what kinds of things do, you know, to kind of keep yourself off of the jaded train and on the progressive train?
Oosh, that's still a work in progress.
Okay, that's fair.
And I don't think I'll ever have one answer to that or a formula per se. I think trying to stay balanced with my spirituality, with my relationships outside of the business. I don't even like saying business, but out of those communities, making sure you have quality people around you, quality friendships. Family is a big deal. I mean, at this moment, I still live with family, and they kind of ground me when I need to be, like, meaning, like, you might feel like I might come off of, like, touring or, like, traveling, and I come back and they're like, you're going to come eat this meal with us, or we're going to go on vacation. So these things they kind of, like, serve as a check-in for myself. Or how are you doing? I think I'm trying to be better at things. I'm still working on it. But I think checking in with yourself is like so important, because I mean, I'm a New Yorker. We're just on the go 24/7. And Absolutely. Sometimes people got to come in and be like, yo, we haven't seen you. Or like, you know, you can chill out. And I'm like, nah, I can't. Like, you go on social media and you're like, fuck, I should be doing this and that. But it's the reality, and that's a whole other conversation, that social media is the devil. But like, right. it's still like trying not to compare yourself to other journeys as Absolutely. Well as a way of self-care, of being like, I'm going at my pace and it's okay. It's all right. Yes. I'm like, I be feeling old sometimes, and I'm like, no, you're not. Like, there's no age limit. It shouldn't be. You got to try to keep convincing yourself. It's like looking in the mirror. I got to look at my, like earlier, they were just at my house. My videographer, Badio, shouts out, and Stephanie, my manager, and I was in the mirror, and I'm like, yes, bitch. Like, you look popping. And sometimes you need to, like, you have to do that to be like, you're okay. You can still make it out here, you know? Yes,
I think that was a lot, and I love that. I was in the mirror. I was saying something different. I was saying
oh, no!
But,
I mean, I've been there, too. That's why you got to, like, it's 2 voices, right? You got to, like, check yourself. Yeah. If you start being, like, negative, which I know I get like this all the time, I'm like, no, like, no, bitch, look at that over there. Like, look at that ass. You lit. Like, you know, you got to focus on something else. You're going to be like, you're great over here.
I love that. There's actually someone in the audience that called me a classy bitch.
Yes.
And I thank her for that, because I use that every morning now. But let's talk a little bit about self-awareness, going back to that, right? So in any business, any industry, you have to have your instincts, your intuition about you, and a sharp tongue. Really. I mean, as a person of color, you've got to be the professional, you have to be the code switcher, you have to be the intelligent one, all at the same time.
Hell yeah.
When your dreams are moving, right? So how have you used those kinds of characteristics to kind of navigate open and closed doors?
Oosh. I mean, obviously everyone has like 2 of the voices where they're kind of like, I'm here now, like, welcome. And then you're like, girl, like, what the fuck? Like, da-da-da, this happened to me today. I don't think I do it as much. I try to be as me as I can, or when I catch myself trying to change, for if I'm in a white space or something, I'm like, why am I changing my tone of voice, or why am I doing this? Like, I don't think it's necessary. Even sitting at a panel, I'm even like weird with getting used to talking and doing conversations like this, because from what I've seen as an audience view where it's so stuck up.
Right.
And I think that's all BS, and that you should be able to like let the words flow as they can and use words that people understand sometimes, or break it down for people. But for me, I think that I've kind of like tried to use my voice as authentically as I could. I know even before this year,
Right.
I've been so hesitant to like say how I really feel about things, just because we live in a world that's so cancel culture, and it's so like, that's it, like she's done for. So especially in social media, it's kind of hard for me to like express some things, because then I'm like, oh God, like I don't want to go through this, or I don't want to argue with people. And now I'm like, there's things that bother me that I should be able to speak about, because it's my experiences, it's my truth, and why shouldn't I be able to share them? So I think that's where I'm at right now, like trying to push myself to say more things, because I know other people can relate and they can identify the same way.
Right. I mean, you're a rising star. Let's just put that out there, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you've got a foot in the door, right? You're marinating. Opportunities are coming.
I like that word, marinating.
Me too.
Yes.
What's been when you first started, what was like that most disappointing thing that you became aware of, like when you first got into the music business? But what's the most exciting thing that's coming up for you?
That's a good balance, because I don't want to sit here as a Black woman and be like, everything sucks, it's horrible, because there's so many beautiful things. I think I want to start with that, because I'm super excited and privileged to be like, even amongst the people that I am amongst,
right.
Like whether that means personal or even seeing from afar and being like, wow, like so much beautiful work, so much beautiful music is being made. I'm a music head, so I'm not just a DJ. I'm out here doing, like, I'm looking at what's going on, and like I feel inspired. I feel like there is a rise, there's a revolution happening, and we're ready. And I know this is probably not like anything new, because we live in history that repeats itself.
Right.
But for some reason, for me, it feels like a Black renaissance all around in all types of industries. So like, yeah. And it gets me excited. And even Latinx, we're using this word, and like language is changing, like dynamics are changing, barriers are being broken down. And those are the things I'm super excited for, because it's something that I didn't grow up with. I didn't grow up seeing people like me. I didn't grow up with, you know, binaries not being not existing, at least in my life and how I saw things. So like I think the most exciting thing for me is that I'm learning so much that I never learned in my life. So to go to the negative.
Not even that, just more focused on what were you surprised about? Let's change the word. What were you surprised about when you got into the music industry?
I think I'm not exactly too sure yet, because I still feel in like DJ years, I'm still like that toddler that's walking. So my experiences and my like perspective is valid, but people are in this like decades and years in the game that I don't even know how that looks. But I think as of now, what surprised me the most is that I could still be doing what I'm doing right now. I'm still living like a privilege at some point. Regardless of being Black or woman, I still have the privilege to travel, and that's important. Not many people. I live in housing right now. I see the same people down in the lobby every day. Like, these are things that I knew that I didn't want for myself. So I have to acknowledge that I do have some privilege, regardless of my skin color, to be able to do these things and connect with folks that are outside of New York, whether that be digitally like we're doing right now, or like physically. So I think that's the surprising part for me. That's been like, you're actually doing this and you're manifesting. These things are coming true. Yes. Like, listen, I was in my tub like maybe a year or two ago writing these things down and seeing these things happen. And like, I've done so much, and I got to keep reminding myself that like, you are doing the shit, girl. Like, you're killing it. And
I love a good dream board.
That's the surprise. Yeah. It's the surprise. Not everything is bad. You can find your communities. You can actually have quality people. I say that again. You can actually have quality people in your life that actually helps you even more being a better person, being a better human. That's what's surprising for me, you know, because I went through a lot just outside of being DJing, with friendships with other situations, and DJing has taught me so much about myself.
So taking it back to the venues, right? What's been the biggest venue or the biggest achievement thus far? And what are you looking forward to?
Oosh. Well, definitely one that sticks out to my mind is Irving Plaza with Bomba Estéreo. Bomba Estéreo is this huge, like, Colombian pop group. This just happened, like, 2 years ago, I think, like, about 2 years ago. And at that moment, that was, like, the biggest thing I ever did. I mean, Brooklyn Museum as well last year, January on my birthday month. That was, like, epic. New Year. It was beautiful, but I know Bomba Estéreo always stuck in my mind because I was legit in an arena. Like, I was in a music venue. Like, I was like, I'm up here on the stage where they're playing. Like, this is legit. And I did that back-to-back 2 nights, and that actually, like, changed my world because I got, like, so many Colombian fans after that. Right. And the Colombian community, like, till this day, I would be at, like, a random gig, and they'll be like, I saw you at Bomba Estéreo, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, and it just meant a lot for me then because at that time, unfortunately, that's when, like, Trump was, you know, coming into office. That whole thing was happening. And to be able to play F Trump by TT the Artist, like, and Mighty Mark, like, to play that at Bomba Estéreo with a bunch of brown people that were, like, raising their middle fingers with me, it was a beautiful feeling. So I think that will stick in my memory forever, you know?
I love that. I love that. So talk to us a little bit about how you put together your sets and how you get prepared for a venue.
I like this. I don't get to talk about this a lot because people don't care, I guess.
No, we care.
It's not that, you know, exciting, but oosh, I spend days. I honestly do. Like, people don't even know. I don't really talk about it as much, but I'm out here, like, scavenging on my laptop, and I'm like, oh, like, this is what I want to find. Or, like, friends of mine that are producers, they would send me stuff, too, and I'll listen to it, and I'll be like, oof, I know I can use that here and there.
Right. Let me tell you why I was asking the question, though.
What happened?
It was because, in my mind, I was just playing a playlist last night. I was playing your set, one of your sets,
Yay.
but then I switched into my own playlist.
Let's talk about that.
A button. It's just a button. So I want people to understand that
like
it's not
that
it's not some let me cut my phone on and just press a button. No, there's like days of preparation that goes into 100%. It. But continue with how it is that you get started.
No, definitely. I mean, for me, it's all like case by case. So most events that have to deal with something, like right now on Thursday, I'm going to be doing a really dope, amazing show, Young, Latin, and Proud at Elsewhere, which is like, the lineup is insane. And it's like, I'm prepping. I know that I have things to say there, you know? So it depends on where I'm playing. If I'm playing like a bar, which is not really, usually not the case, but if I'm playing a regular night, I'm like, okay, I might go over some reggaeton or some hip-hop or R&B or whatever. But if it's an hour set, it depends, an hour versus like 4-hour set. 4-hour set, you have a longer leeway room to take people on a journey, up and down. You have like crescendo, you have decrescendo, but when it's an hour, you have to fit a lot more in that and saying like, what do I want to say? What do I want people to leave here thinking of me? You know, like how do I want them to think of me once I'm done? So that's kind of in short a little bit, like how I kind of like navigate through what I want to pick. And usually I'm inspired by artists that I know. Usually I'm inspired by that first track that I choose. The opening for me is always the biggest deal.
Right.
How do I open? What do I want to say? What's the message? And then flow from there.
Do you ever do previews of like your upcoming sets that you are placing on SoundCloud?
Oosh, I mean, maybe I can do that now.
I'm just saying.
Because I'm usually kind of like on the fly, so I'm like, do I want to put it before they see it? But that might be a good idea. I mean, I might have to do that. I think that most of the time I'm like, okay, I'm prepping either the day before or the week of, and I'm just like all like into it that I'm like I don't even think of like sharing, which is like because you know DJs are also like we're sharing beings, but at the same time the roots of DJing, people are like covering their like vinyl disc. You're like you're not stealing my tracks.
Right.
I kind of in the middle. I'm in the middle of that.
Well, I was thinking like maybe doing like a listening party, and it's something I would definitely come to.
Oh, yes.
You know?
I mean, I'm going to be working on original work, so that's definitely going to happen. I'm putting it out there. Doing production, I wanted to start doing music production before I was DJing, actually. So now this kind of gave me that leeway to like break through, like you said, put that foot in the door and actually go another step ahead.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So we're going to open it up for questions.
Oh, please have questions.
Yes. Questions. Don't be shy.
Where would you recommend going to listen to your music? Or like,
Oh.
where in the city should I be going to like?
I mean, I'm based in Brooklyn, so you're most likely always going to find me somewhere up in there. This Thursday, I'm playing at Elsewhere in Williamsburg. Please come through. We have Como Chimita there, like my other family, amazing from Colombia, Helado Negro. All these folks are like huge. And I think that's a show you wouldn't want to miss because it's live music and there's DJs. There's like Papi Juice, which is a huge LGBTQI plus group that's amazing, and they're performing as well. So Riobamba, like she's performing. So the lineup is something that you don't want to miss. But I'm also working Orisa is my other baby. I have Vibras NYC, which is my first baby, and then I have Orisa, which is my second baby, with DJ Wolf. Shout outs to Wolf. And we do that Friends and Lovers. So that's every last Friday of the month, and that's at Friends and Lovers in Brooklyn. And then anywhere people need me. I mean, I'm available. Book me, please.
So one of the questions you said earlier that like, I don't know, you have to balance wanting to like use your platform, but also not having to like feel responsible for educating people. And I'm curious how you balance that in music. So like you were talking a little bit about picking your tracks and stuff. Like, do you ever think about as you're getting in front of an audience, like, you know what, they probably have never heard this. Like this is my chance to teach them about like roots of like, you know, Puerto Rican music, of Panamanian, where it all started. How do you think about that?
Oof, that's a good one. I kind of tackle it two ways. One way, when I'm introducing like new artists or people that I like, I kind of start with what the crowd might like and then go into that track. So it's similar vibe or similar genre, and they will kind of be like, okay, like, then it's not like you lose them completely because they already got what they wanted, if that makes sense. And I kind of just like swiveled it in there. And sometimes I don't give a fuck. I just play anyway. Because I'm like, you're going to learn today. I don't care if you're not dancing, which is horrible because some DJs would attest to like, that's not DJing. DJing is like you're serving the community. And I think for me it's like healing and educating the community too. Because if you wanted whatever you wanted, you can go press the button to the playlist that you just did. True. Or you can go to your abuela's house and like crank it all up, whatever you want. So I think for me, it's kind of like a give and take. I always compare it to like a drug addict, honestly. I always compare it in that way because I'm like, we're used to being pumped all of this music, like overload of like, trash. And I'm hypocritical to say that I like some of this trash too, but like it's kind of like trying to wean them from this addiction. So little by little being like, there is better music over there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for being here. Who are some new musicians that you're excited about and you're trying to incorporate into your playlist?
Yay! Thanks for that question. Off the top of the dome, Como Chimbita. I mean, dope Colombian-based. They're from New York. They're from Colombia. They're here in New York right now. They're amazing group. I mean, their music, if you come on Thursday, it's just an experience. I can't really put into words, but every single time, I've seen them many times because we're like mates, we're in the same family, same management, and every time I just get further and further deeper into my roots. It's like really Afro-based for me. It's spiritual as hell, and it's in Spanish language. Other artists, I would say Nino Augustine. He's also a fellow Panameño. Shout out to Nino from Atlanta. He does like plena. He can rap his ass off. And we need him in this industry. There's no black people, reggaeton or Latin rap or Latin trap. And those are the two that are coming to my head right now. I have a bunch, but I could probably talk to you later. And I'm sorry if I'm not shouting out everybody. But off the top of the dome, that's like my family right there. And I think they're amazing, you know? And I mean, Senya Rubinos, I could now it's like coming to me. I'm like, but there's so many amazing folks. Oh, Stefa, oh my God. That's like a lot right now because I'm like up here. But there's so many artists that I can like, if y'all want to reach out to me, feel free to reach out. But I think that they deserve the exposure and all the love. But thank you for that question because that's really important.
That was a good question. Any other questions?
You had mentioned how the industry kind of centralizes what people see and the types of artists that you get to see. Have you used social media or other tools on the internet to discover these other artists? And like, especially for the kids that are going to see this online and other places, like what are those places that you're seeing these artists that don't get the coverage?
Oh, thanks, Judd. That's actually still a work in progress for me because it's kind of like word of mouth community because they got us so hidden, y'all, like 100%. Like I was even trying to search for like a Black Puerto Rican, and I mean Black like me or darker. When I was trying to like book an artist, I had this like vision of something. And I'm like, oh, I want to find like where are the Black like I know there's Black Puerto Ricans, but I'm like, where are the Black Puerto Rican artists that So when I went on the island, I actually went to a showcase. I came across her through a collaboration that she had done. And when I went in person to see the showcase, I was like, whoa, like this is the only Black like Puerto Rican for me that I've seen on the island that's doing like this like dope, jazzy kind of funk fusion work. And I think for me, it's out of luck sometimes. And like what people like, who are they talking about? And then also SoundCloud is a really good source for me just because you can really dig in and like try to find, they might not match appearance wise, but then also like I'm thinking of like indigenous folks and like Suramericano, Centroamericano, people that don't get represented enough, you know? I mean, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and other masses of Latin culture get represented really well, but then we forget about the others. And I think that's important too.
What's the best piece of advice you would give someone that's getting into DJing, specifically as a woman of color?
You have to love music, 100%. Love music. You have to be able to push yourself to be in uncomfortable situations, unfortunately. Find community. I always tell people, I'm like, reachable, please reach out. I say this in everything that I speak in. I look out, I'm like, where are my Black people at? Hit me up, please. Because it's kind of like a call, like a bird call. You got to kind of be like, I'm here, we here. Because I know there's a bunch of people that don't know I exist either. It's like, we need to find each other. So I think the best advice is finding community, being able to step out. And because the first few years I was DJing, I was out like every night. Legit. Like I was out every night, going out, being present. You have to be out in these spaces, whatever the industry is. To see what's happening, to connect with people, and then love music. If you don't love music, DJing, like for me, DJing shouldn't be just a hobby. If you're like, why? Then just do something else. Like, like for me, you gotta really love what you're doing and do it for you. Like finding your own voice is really important, not someone else's voice, but what do you want to say? I think that's probably 3 of the things I can say that's important if you want to join.
We dig that. We dig it. Well, we want to thank you again.
Thank you so much. You're so lit.